I'm really excited to be talking with you about Project Thunderbolt. I have to say, it was a marvel of an ERP program because, as we're about to learn, the speed of that program is truly defining. So maybe for the folks that are going to be learning about Thunderbolt for the first time, maybe you could just share some background on what it was.
Yes, definitely. So Fluence is undergoing a digital transformation to help support our growth. And just within the period of 1 year, we have embarked on completely revamping our ERP system and switching from NetSuite to SAP within the 12-month period, which is unprecedented. It's very fast and requires a lot of all hands on deck type of attitude.
12 months for an ERP transformation. I don't know what the Guinness Book of World Records is for a SAP program of that scale, but I have to say, I feel like you guys must have shattered something there. So
that's what I'm hearing,
yes. Last year alone, there was record spend in ERP, $65 billion globally, and then the investment continues to rise. But half of organizations that are embarking on their ERP journey fail to accomplish it the first time. And then about 40% will achieve less than half of their business case. So it's a really transformative time, but there are also challenges, bumps in the road. And what we see at large is, and we've built a methodology around it called Vision to Value, is organizations are struggling to define the business value of a transformation in order to secure the levels of sponsorship that are needed in order to make that program a success in the longer term. And what we also see is a gradual decline in value if those tangible outcomes are not clearly communicated from the onset. So maybe you could just walk the folks viewing this through, what were some of those goals and value indicators that you set at the outset of Project Thunderbolt?
Yeah, so Fluence was undergoing a rapid growth, and with that, we needed systems and processes to be able to support that growth. And of course, supply chain and being competitive in the supply chain management field is very important for Fluence, given its the type of industry that we're in, as well as demand planning. And so, given SAP's capabilities to really improve our supply chain management and become a digital first and a digital leader among companies in our industry was very important. And of course, with that comes productivity and efficiency gains as well.
Right. And I imagine if you look at the growth trajectory of Fluence over the years, it's like a sheer cliff, which is amazing. But I have to imagine that those systems and processes that you were coming from didn't quite scale with the growth that you all were experiencing.
That's right. Yep.
Well, I'm really excited to chat more about it. I think it's I would say, an increasingly common challenge that organizations are facing, how to scale in a really smart way and fit their new industry peers and adopt those best practices, especially around the area of supply chain management. I think to help with that journey, SAP has really started to invest in a suite of software solutions that they call the Business Transformation Management suite of solutions, or part of the integrated tool chain that SAP offers in order to help organizations better manage their digital transformation journeys, better account for the business value of those transformations from the outcome, and ultimately help decrease the time to value so that they can start to realize the rewards of that journey sooner along the way. That three kind of pronged class of software starts with LeanIX, which is an enterprise architecture tool, allows us to better manage gain better visibility into our digital spend across the ecosystem. Signavio, which allows us to model the current and future state of business process and also monitor the performance through the process intelligence capabilities. And then WalkMe, the newest entrant to that arena on the people side, helping the workforce to navigate the digital disruption and then adopt the underlying technologies faster, which again helps with that decrease in time to value. We're going to be talking specifically about the people leg of that stool, and I'm really curious, just as you embarked on your journey with Project Thunderbolt, what were really the key drivers of your people strategy in that project?
Yeah, I think one of the decisions that Fluence made early on in the digital transformation process was to invest in a digital adoption organizational change management team. And so my job was to ensure that we are set up for success with adoption, with communications, with training, and come up with a comprehensive strategy on how we're going to do this, not just for Project Thunderbolt, but for all the other programs within our digital transformation initiative.
I would love to hear just a little bit more about some of these specific solutions and applications of WalkMe and how they led to the realization of that business value for Project Thunderbolt.
Yeah, and so, when you're undergoing digital transformation, there are different types of training strategies, communication strategies, and so WalkMe kind of brings all of them together, and not just having a classroom where you sit down and learn something, and then a weekend goes by and you might not even remember what you've learned. But when the rubber hits the road when you actually sit down in front of your computer and start doing your day-to-day job in the new environment. And so that's where WalkMe was really, really beneficial, because it gave specific users specific guidance that they needed at that specific moment to execute on a specific task. And so one of the things that we did with WalkMe was we used a WalkMe menu to bring all of the different documents and sources that a user might need at any particular moment. The WalkMe menu is our one-stop shop for everything or anything a user might need. It's searchable, it's relatable, and an end user can really type in what they're trying to do, and it will pop up either a WalkMe guide, it could pop up any documentation that they might need in support of whatever they're doing. So we really used that as a depository for any type of material that an end user might need in that specific moment, be it a process map, be it any supplemental documentation, be it a WalkMe walkthrough itself, it's all there in that menu.
And I remember one of the things we added in there was the ability to open a support ticket.
That's right.
Directly from the menu. And that, I think, even just that, right, closing that loop with the user, allowing them to get support, but then also be able to elevate, right, if they need that, that channel, I think is really impactful.
Yes, and that was very valuable, and our users use that a lot. And we, even being a global company and having a heavy presence in EMEA region, we even linked our GDPR privacy policy in there. Yeah.
So helping to drive that compliance with the users as well.
Correct.
It's fantastic. So outside of the WalkMe menu, what else do you guys have going on?
We also are building out a lot of automations for our end users. We are a global company. We transact in a lot of different currencies. And so we want to make sure that whenever a user is using the system, they're actually entering information in proper currency, so they don't have to redo it once they realized their currency wasn't set correctly. So, and one of the things that we're doing is actually tying it to the user profile. And if we know that they are in a specific country with specific currency, then that's the currency that the system will suggest.
That same pain point has come up with multiple clients of ours as users are generating purchase orders that are where the currency conversion can really drastically impact the amount of that object, right? And so having that automated toggle just to make sure that users are selecting the right currency or making sure that those adjustments are made so that they're not accidentally generating something in the wrong currency, I think can be really valuable. I know in this case, in Fiori, it was mainly driven around making sure that their view was correct, which is equally important, because if you're talking to a customer, you want to make sure that you've got the right numbers in front of you for when you're having to deal with their orders.
It serves as a reminder, hey, make sure you set the right currency, and it also doesn't push them to go dig through the settings. Like
Right.
just click the button, I'll do it for you.
Exactly. Phenomenal.
Yeah, another thing that we're really relying on WalkMe for is our process standardization. We allow our users to pick, do they want to do something themselves and go through all the clicks and actually learn how to do it, or we automate it for them to a certain extent. And so the WalkMe guide really can automate the walkthrough for users, and then whenever a decision that needs to be made by an end user, it will stop and ask, what do you want to do next?
Yeah.
And so it really makes it really efficient and quick for users and saves time for them.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about how we set that one up was just it met the user where they were, whether they were a new user that wanted to understand the business process. Maybe they were already somewhat familiar with SAP from a prior role, but we talked about process standardization being a really big value driver for you all. Understanding how Fluence, manages and execute that business process for the first time, I think is a really, really good onboarding experience, right? But then you also have the automated version as well, so that as users just want to experience some shortcuts, some time savings, productivity gains in the platform, they can just use it as an aid to get the job done faster, which is phenomenal as well.
And users really like the automation piece. Once they've understood the process, they just go straight to it, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
And then one very important piece of the value that WalkMe brings is data validation. As you know, if a certain field needs to be filled out a certain way, usually it requires a back-end developer. And for Project Thunderbolt to succeed, we really needed to make sure that, and in such a short time frame, we really needed to make sure that we stick to the out-of-the-box solution. And so having data validation help with WalkMe, which is quick and elegant, doesn't require any back-end developers, is really a game changer. And we also did it on a fly. So we would find out that certain fields from certain users would cause errors down the line. And so we would just go in and put in a data validation and make sure that the users know how to fill this out correctly.
Right.
Give them help and pop-ups saying, this is what you should be putting or you should not be putting in the field. So that helps reduce errors. That also helps with not needing to use any back-end developers, saves time and money for everyone.
And I think it overall adheres to the fit to standard principle of SAP. We want to look for every opportunity to keep the core code clean. In the kind of emergent era of taking these solutions as close as you can out of the box or fit to your industry standard. These types of kind of soft blocks that we can put in, or low code, no code solutions that layer on top in the user experience, I think are becoming more and more valuable.
Yep, definitely a huge differentiator.
Well, this has been, I think, super informative, just to learn a little bit more about how you all approached it for Thunderbolt. But you're in a later stage of that program now. You've had some successful go lives. What do you think is next for WalkMe?
So we're really right now building out more and more solutions, making sure that we have our end-to-end process covered for all of our end users within the system. We've built the basis for the go live, and now we're expanding upon it to really help our users get more and more out of the system, help them with efficiency, and help them with understanding the process all the way.
Great.
We're also looking into now extending the benefits of WalkMe to other platforms that Fluence uses. So not just the supply chain and finance teams that are realizing the benefits of WalkMe, but maybe sales teams or services. So we are really looking into expanding WalkMe to other platforms.
Great. And you're thinking that's going to go in and out of the SAP realm, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's an important reminder, especially now that WalkMe as part of SAP is that this continues to be an application agnostic solution. And that I think is one of the great benefits is its ability to kind of go in and out of SAP as well. A lot of investment went into Project Thunderbolt, and Fluence ultimately needs to see the value of that program as quickly as it can, right? And solutions like WalkMe, I think, really excel at helping to accelerate that time to value and make sure that users from the onset and over the course of the sustainment lifecycle continue to get really good value out of their usage. Organizations should be really looking at the overall BTM integrated tool chain as an opportunity to continuously measure and monitor that value. And WalkMe in particular is, I think, a really valuable part of that equation as a solution that can help to accelerate that value prop for your transformation.
It's been a pleasure working with Deloitte and with the WalkMe team on this implementation, and we're looking forward to more.
Thanks very much, Renara. Appreciate
you.
everything.